Hi, everybody. Juliana Forlano here. Welcome to act.tv's Act Now. Today I'm going into labor. Not really, but I am going into labor. The resurgence of labor, it is all over the place. It is barely reported on. And when it is, everything's often twisted around. So I'm going to bring you some voices from the actions. We're going to be covering the Amazon organizing drive in Staten Island. We're going to be covering what the airline are trying to do and how it's being reported to their workers. I got a lot of surprises about how these airline workers are not paid for things we think and maybe rightfully assume that they are being paid for. We're going to be covering that. We're also going to be covering what's going on at Starbucks. Marianne Williamson, former presidential candidate, is coming on the program to talk about the resurgence in unionizing across the board. She was also at the Starbucks workers event that happened not too long ago, and she was able to speak with some of the workers there. Also, Bob Henley was able to speak with Sarah Nelson. We have his segment coming up, and there's more. 20,000 teachers are on strike in Puerto Rico. Did you know? We have so much to talk about, and of course, I'm going to be taking and reading your comments on the air, so don't forget to make them in our YouTube page at act.tv and on our Facebook page at act.tv. I promise I will get some of those Facebook comments in. I know it's mostly been YouTube, folks. So all that is coming up and more. So stay tuned. All right. Coming up on Sunday in Staten Island, where most of my paisani are cooking sauce and voting for Republicans, Amazon workers rallied to make the final case for joining the Amazon labor union. That is what is in today's Action Rundown. Amazon workers at a second warehouse on Staten Island have been voting all week. And if the majority votes to join, the facility will be the second Amazon facility to unionize not only on Staten Island, but in the nation. There was a pre-vote rally there this past Sunday, and it was pretty powerful. AOC spoke. It was called a Solidarity Sunday. Sarah Nelson was there, head of the Flight Attendants Union. Jumaane Williams, the public advocate of New York City, a former Occupy Wall Streeter, and now a candidate for New York governor. He was there. The amazing Senate candidate we've had here on the program before, Brittany Ramos de Barros. There was the Amazon labor union organizer, Chris Smalls, and even Bernie Sanders, who volunteered, by the way, to be the labor secretary for Biden, but was politely shown the door. All these folks spoke to the crowd. My buddy, Dave Lippman, who I have known since I was on WBAI Pacifica Network in New York City, shot this video. And I mean, he was on the scene. It's raw. It's exactly what you would experience if you were there. And he really captured the electric atmosphere at the pre-vote rally. Take a look.
When big unions scoffed at Starbucks and were scared of Amazon, local workers who were suffering said, "Comrades, oh come on." So they organized their own damn themselves, and the workers all jumped on. We're the union and we're strong. This is what democracy looks like. Show me what community looks like. This is what community looks like.
And so here on this Sunday, I am here to worship with you at the House of Labor that Chris Smalls and AOU are building right here in Staten Island.
Not only was demonized herself, but she beat Amazon herself.
The first city to win a tax on Amazon in the nation. Lesson number one, lead relentlessly with concrete and clear demands to win over your fellow workers. Carry out unstoppable shop floor organizing with workers talking to workers.
If you can go to space, you can give our workers a bathroom break. Ain't that right? If you can go to space, you can make sure that you're treating people well and giving them solid health care benefits. That they don't have a 3-hour commute to and from work. That they can afford the house that they can live in. That people don't have to be sleeping in their cars in order to work for Amazon. All of this is an indignity and an injustice, and it has no place in New York City. And we're going to change that, and right here, our workers out here are going to change that.
We could use that for transportation so that workers can get here without sleeping in their cars in this parking garage right here. That's $400 million of our tax dollars that Jeff Bezos owes us back, and together here we are demanding that they give us our goddamn money back.
Who shut shit down?
We shut shit down.
Who shut shit down?
We shut shit down.
Who shut shit down?
We shut shit down.
Who run this town?
We run this town.
Who run this town?
We run this town.
This is our one chance to improve our livelihoods, to be a part of something truly great, to be part of a movement. This is just the beginning. So, to my family at LGJ5, this is a call for all of you to join our brothers and sisters and siblings at JFK8 and join local number 1.
I've been out here every day, like organizing, taking VTO, phone banking, and everything like that. I'm like, we're fighting. I'm fighting for all my family and my friends who've been fired. Like, I'm fighting for all of us. Like, this place needs a union. Like, all I have to say is solidarity forever.
You need $107 billion so people can't feed their own families? And they like to talk about, oh, he worked hard. Come here so you can see some hard workers. Let me show you some hard work. People getting hurt when they come to work. Let me show you some single mothers working hard, 2 or 3 jobs.
I keep talking about it because this is the beginning of the resurgence of the labor movement. Starbucks is next. Home Depot is next. Target is next. Walmart is next. It's only just beginning. Watching what is happening here has ignited women at New York City Transit. And yesterday we had a women's brunch, and women are getting ready to fight the MTA to ensure that we get our just rights and protect our reproductive rights. You know what this also means? That means that these workers are going to become the next city council members.
And we, in our union, are asking them to go back and teach us everything that they did for us to organize and be successful.
I am so damn inspired by what Chris and Derek and this amazing organizing committee and everybody who's got the guts to organize the Amazon Labor Union is doing. The public sector workers of New York City own, believe it or not, $1.9 billion of stock in Amazon. That makes you powerful shareholders at this company, and we are going to demand accountability as shareholders.
Yeah!
What we're seeing now, when you guys are helping to lead that effort, millions of people standing up saying, enough is enough. All right, we're going to create an economy that works for working people, not just billionaires. Congratulations to all that you've done. Let's go forward together. Thank you.
We are just getting started with Starbucks workers, with Amazon workers, with retail workers, with farm workers. Black and brown people will rise, and we will be respected on the job. Union, yes! Union, yes! Union, yes! Union, yes! Union, yes!
And that was thanks to our friend Dave Lippman, who brought us that wonderful footage from, right there on the floor. So thank you so much, Dave, for that. Did you feel the burn? I felt the burn from all of those speakers. I mean, those are the future leaders of America right there, and some of the current leaders of America. Brad Lander was on there. He was the guy who looked very red. He used to be my city councilman when I lived in Park Slope in Brooklyn. Yes, he's still just as red. He's got to get some sunblock. Anyway, how wonderful was that? And so feeling the burn, very electrifying there from Staten Island. In related news about the burn, Senator Sanders, the independent of Vermont, said he hasn't ruled out another run for actual president. The Hill recently reported that 58% of people polled said they might actually support a moderate candidate. This is a story that was in the Hill. If the choice is between Biden and Trump, 58% said they would support a moderate candidate. Unfortunately, the report said a moderate candidate. Clearly, they don't realize they already have a moderate candidate in Joe Biden. What we need is a candidate that meets the moment without either authoritarian demagoguery or ineffective incrementalism. Do we have one of those? Let's remember that many people who voted for Trump would have voted for Sanders if the establishment, the Democratic establishment, had run a fair fight. And then we might not be in this exact mess that we are in now. The Burn also said he was not going to run if Joe Biden was running. Tell me in the comments what you think. Should Bernie run against Biden as a Democrat? Should he run as an independent? Crystal Ball on her show said she thinks he's too old and maybe not really able to do so anymore. So should other people run in the Democratic Party and primary Joe Biden, or should they run as independents? We've got other people. We've got Marianne Williamson. She ran last time. She's coming on the show later. She could run as an independent. Or the UBI guy, that guy, he could run. Jon Stewart, the comedian, former host of The Daily Show, said he might run. I mean, for crying out loud, people are even trying to conscript Oprah Winfrey to run. It's going to be exciting. Put your comments, and I can't wait to, I see them coming in, and I can't wait to read them. Anyway, back to what happened at Amazon. Workers began voting this week in the National Labor Relations Board election to either join or not the independent Amazon labor union that won over the warehouse across the street on April 1st. Ballots from the second warehouse, known by its number JFK 8, are due back tomorrow, Friday, April 19th, and counting is scheduled to begin on May 2nd, barring some unfortunate incident where, as you saw that I just put up, the ballots are accidentally burned to a crisp by an Amazon brand ballot box malfunction. I mean, they are vicious. And put that one back up, John Carl. That was a funny image that was made for us. There you go. Amazon has been viciously anti-union, and I wouldn't put it past them to make the vote be in some box that they made that blows up when you try to fill it with votes to join a union. Anyway, and most people know about the vicious anti-unionism that goes on when big corporations, including and especially Amazon, are trying to fight against unionization. In 2021, when the fine folks working in the searing summer heat at the warehouse in Bessemer, Alabama, which had no air conditioning, no water fountains, when they tried to form a union, Amazon spent almost $4.3 million on water fountains and air conditioning. Oh, no, wait. No, they spent that money on union busting consultants. Just let that sink in for a minute. Can you imagine having your job be a union busting consultant? I mean, every day you go to work and see how you could take food out of a working mom's kid's mouth. It's basically an accessory to murder. Hello. Of course, in many countries, union busting does actually include murder. So we got that. This is actually a real headstone. I think this was a U.S. person, but this is a real headstone. Frank Little, slain by capitalist interests for organizing and inspiring his fellow men. And I must say, when I tried to find an image to illustrate what we're talking about here, there were a lot all across South America, Central America. Union leaders usually don't end, it doesn't end well for them. Anyway, back to Amazon. Can you imagine working in this warehouse, in a tin roof warehouse in Bessemer, Alabama, in 105-degree heat, 99% humidity? We talked about it on our show. We had one of the workers on our show. I think it was back in the summer. No AC. What do you do on your break? Go sit in your car with the windows rolled up to cool down? Oh, no, wait. They don't have brakes. They don't have brakes, so they don't do that. Anyway, in Bessemer, Alabama, they are running a rerun election, results of which are still pending, which is great. and better than losing. How and why is this important? How does it affect you? Because the presence of organized labor affects society in truly only positive ways. Places with higher union density across the board have higher wages and less income inequality. That means less fear and anxiety, less suffering from economic desperation. On average, a worker covered by a union contract earns 10.2% more money than his buddy with the same education and job and experience doing the same job in the same town in a non-unionized workplace. Hello. The wage advantage is known as the union wage premium. And of course, this wage increase spills over to all workers in the area. It's not just the union folks. Unions effectively set broader standards, including higher wages, which the non-union employers nearby have to meet. Otherwise, everybody's going to go work at the other place. Everyone sell their cheap plastic crap instead of your cheap plastic crap or whatever it is that you're selling. I don't know. The combination of higher wages for union members and the spillover effect means organized labor is crucial to raising wages for working people and reducing income inequality. Also, studies show that union membership reduces white racial resentment. That's right. So no more scary Proud Boys, etc. And instead of burning torches, those guys can stay home and play peekaboo with little Adolf. Studies show that men who spend time with their babies have decreased levels of testosterone, by the way, which translates basically into decreased levels of doing stupid, aggressive shit like joining the Klan. Yes, union membership helps folks see that the propaganda they've been slammed by since the start of the Republic is actually serving to oppress them. If only being woke meant being woke to this little fact and not just a lot of lefty additional sometimes unhelpful propaganda. Anyway, instead of thinking that the brown folk are taking their jobs, these white folks, they're starting to see that their plight is actually a shared one against corporate tyranny and out against the fellow worker of whatever color. It is no wonder that our corporate friendly fascism, the fascists and the conservative politicians want to keep them down. Solidarity is a dangerous concept to hierarchical, abusive structures of power, is it not? The ones who feed off the blood and sweat of others. The research also found that the long-term political and economic effects of weakening unions, like through the right to work laws and such that we've been covering here on our show, include things like lower voter turnout and basically less democracy, more corporate tyranny. There become fewer working class candidates serving in the legislatures and in Congress, the state legislatures, etc., because this is the pipeline for working class people to then run for office. That's what it is. Labor unions. Without these folks in the state legislature and in Congress, there's more conservative, corporate-loving state policy, which we all know leads basically to death via either environmental degradation, crime, illnesses like drug addiction, and more bad stuff. Unions help reduce the gender wage gap too, and basically improve all around economic well-being of working people. It gives us the means to support ourselves, and it doesn't leave us to die in poverty or rely on the state, which you would think conservative voters would like, not relying on the state. They hate people relying on the state. Although there are, the workers are going across party lines. That we're going to talk to Marianne Williamson about that a little bit later. People joining labor unions actually are across party affiliation. It's very interesting. Anyway, back to the Amazon workers. These organizers, these union folks are basically bringing up the entire plight of humanity one warehouse at a time. So I want to thank you for doing that. Wish you good luck. And now let's take a listen to reporter Bob Henley, who you know from this show, you know from his work on WBAI and over at the Chief Leader, where he'd been writing forever. Now he's on Salon. He did a super empowering interview with Sarah Nelson of the Flight Attendants Union after that high energy Amazon labor union rally in Staten Island. Let's take a listen to that.
Chance to catch up with Sarah Nelson from the CWA Flight Attendants. So why'd you come here today?
how could I not be here today? I mean, this is what I've been waiting for 25 years, for workers to wake up to the power that we have when we come together. And, you know, a lot of people thought this couldn't happen, but all it really takes is, is that consciousness. And I think that, you know, people have had enough. And it's not surprising that it's being led by the next generation, because no one has laid down a path for them that works. They're talking about the same battles that we were talking about 100 years ago, because we haven't been willing to fight. We have, you know, our density has decreased, so we don't have the power that we had before. But we can claim it again, and that's what they're doing here. And I want to cheer that on. This is what I've been hoping for and wanting for all workers for a very long time, because just representing flight attendants, I can't take on the issues that they care about, that really matter to them, without the rest of labor being organized too.
So how did the COVID pandemic prevent, it seems that 20 million people have walked away from their job. Bigger, that's 8 million more than AFL-CIO. So something's going on. The social contract of work has changed. Is this opening, this once in a century opening labor has to make its case to workers?
Yeah, I mean, listen, the workers are making the case to labor. What did you hear here today? Come on. I mean, the people want a union, and they've been sitting around waiting for labor to wake up to that, and they're done sitting around. They're taking charge, they're making their unions, and we're building a new labor movement.
So you see it as kind of like they're against the status, they're shaking labor movement up, they're challenging the status quo.
I think that they are claiming their own power. I don't think this has to do with, you know, look, what this is really doing is it's going back to labor's roots and what labor really is. Labor is the working people. It's the people on a job site who have the same experience and want to take on the boss together because they're not being treated fairly. And when they do that here, workers in other job sites see that, and they see that they can do it too. Because as Mother Jones said more than 100 years ago, the capitalists say there is no need of labor organizing, except that they themselves are constantly organizing and show their real beliefs. And they have been. And they have been organizing around how to squeeze more and more out of the workers. It doesn't matter what industry it is. And so it's time that we wake up and support each other and take our money back. Thank you.
That's from our friend Bob Henley from Salon. We're happy to have him back on the show pretty soon, one of these days. That was our action rundown. You're watching Act Now. I'm Juliana Forlano. Stay tuned. There's more. All right. In addition to the actions that Amazon workers are taking, 20,000 teachers in Puerto Rico are on strike right now as we speak, as reported by, well, almost no one. Have you heard that before? I mean, I heard it on Lee Camp's new TikTok account, because if you want labor news, you really have to dig for it. The teachers in Puerto Rico have second and third jobs to just try to stay solvent, which is absolutely insane. I don't know why anyone's not doing anything about this. Perhaps our president can go down there and throw them a roll of paper towels like Trump did after they got hit by that hurricane. Also, the fine folks over at Democracy Now! Are forming a labor union. That's pretty cool, right? I mean, you would think that would be an easy sell. And as far as I know, there's not a lot of comments going around about it, but the administration there, whatever you want to call it, are like, yeah, let's do this. That's cool. There was no pushback at all, which you would expect. And it shows the absolute integrity of that left-leaning platform. I know a lot of left-leaning platforms that actually are anti-union. The person who is fairly wealthy, who bought the Chief Leader, which is the largest labor paper in the country, doesn't want the people who work there to unionize. I mean, WTF. More on that later.